in which we treat them, in the way we fund them, in the way we deploy. So one comrade says to us, comrades, you know that the metros in China are run by members of the Communist Party's Politburo. The metros in China, they are serious. And so what this one comrade says, metros are very important. They are centers of economic power. They are very serious. And he says, you see, comrades, when you visit China, you visit Tianjin, Shanghai, or Beijing. You don't visit China in general. So when you come to South Africa, you don't visit South Africa in general. You visit eThekwini. Yes, eThekwini. eThekwini, 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 eThekwini. Okay, I'm trying. Comrade, one comrade, yeah, eThekwini. 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 Ish. No, sorry, man. I've been speaking in English here, but the one comrade said to me what the other day. Well, do you know how to do this thing? I said, no, I can't. I don't know. It was the president of that. And he says, now, how are you going to teach your child to do it if you don't know it yourself? But back to the issue of the metros, comrades. We're going to have to treat these metros seriously. You see what the DA is doing. Eh? So they're going to turn us into the rest of South Africa into a Bantustan. We don't care. We want Cape Town. We want Nelson Mandela. We want Tshwane. We want Johannesburg. We can keep the rest of your Bantustan. Yes. And as soon as they have that, they control South Africa. So comrades, on page 13, we're going through some analysis there of what the outcomes, the key outcomes have been. So we'll not go through that now. And on page 13 to page 14, we go through what we call the danger signals, some of which we're dealing with now about Gauteng itself, the metros, so comrades can go through that. And as we conclude this section, we want to propose, comrades, that we must support the call by the South African Communist Party to call for the resignation of this clown called Mike Waters. The second thing is that we want to propose that we support the call for the South African government. The South African government, you know that thing of being serious as a revolution, that it must be serious and treat itself as a revolution. It must be, no, the point we're making is that you can't. So this is, the state is an instrument in the hands of revolutionary forces. Yeah. Now you can't have it arming counter-revolutionary forces against the revolutionary forces. It doesn't make sense. Now this thing that Comrade Blade was saying here, that we spend so much advertising money instead of building a strong, independent SABC, instead of building strong community radio stations, instead of building very strong community newspapers and our own newspapers, we fund the people who have created a narrative over the last 5 years. You know, the narrative is things are falling apart in this country. And you know, the narrative has now taken root, things are falling apart, but we've gone to the evidence and say, but comrades, look at the evidence, look at everything that has happened over the last 20 years and look at the last 5 years. So how can the narrative today be things are falling apart? But somebody said if you repeat lies every day, they'll become the truth. Socioeconomic, comrades, we are in trouble here. Governor Marcus and Deputy Governor saying that we are not going to a recession. We're sitting at 3.8 economic growth last quarter in 2013. We have now shrunk to 0.6. This is a serious situation. It's in particular as a result of manufacturing and mining. This is very serious. There are predictions that we'll go into a second recession. Now, Governor Marcus says, no, we don't think a recession is coming. But the truth is, if the GDP, if we register GDP contraction in the second quarter, that will technically be a recession. So there are other things that we've got to look at. So this thing, comrades, is quite serious that we must look at. And, we've been looking at this question, and it's very difficult, Comrade President, to speak on this matter. We've been trying to discuss it inside of COSATU. Comrade Blaze raised it here. But when we met the ANC task team, and I'm not going to mention names, comrades, it seems to us here that there's an agenda underway to disrupt the South African economy. No, an agenda underway. The two big targets are manufacturing and mining. So it's a complex thing for a trade union movement to analyze, because we have rights, we must strike as and when we want to strike. But there is a political agenda underway. So some of these things of going, and we're not going to mention names, of going into scopes that are not ours, but are related to government, that if we were to strike there, we would sabotage projects of government, whether it is Mudupi or building of the expansion of a port, that we can bring the economy down. So it's quite clear that this thing seems to be targeted. But these are matters that COSATU would have to discuss. One other thing, comrade, that in addition to GDP growth, is the issue of employment. During this first quarter of 2014, unemployment grew by 1.1% to 25.2%. An important thing to take into account, inflation is sitting at 6.1 in April, and Andrew Levy employment publication says the average wage settlements have been around 7.9. Now, if inflation is sitting at 6.1, it means real wages have been on average 1.8. Now, with this, comrades, we must say now, with inflation at the point at which it is, we must be thinking for the coming public service negotiations in the context in which Treasury has set the ceiling at 6.4. So once again, as we said here last year, we have no confusion, comrades. When we are asked, we are called upon to defend the African National Congress and to deliver a decisive victory in the elections, we'll go out and do so. When the interests of our members are threatened during negotiations or any other bargaining process, we'll take on government head on. There's no contradiction. We have complete clarity on that matter. We have complete clarity on that thing, comrades, and the union must remain clear about that. Another thing, comrade, that's important to look at there is the problem of household income in South Africa that is now sitting at 75.5%. Economy has been growing. Now the Reserve Bank says they're projecting 2.1 at the end of 2014. It may be that if other things continue to be the way they are now, even that 2.1% may not be achieved. On the radical second phase, Comrade President, I think we've already dealt with that thing. Just to raise this thing, Comrade, that In the next 5 years, 877 billion has been set aside for infrastructure rollout through the infrastructure development bill that has been passed. And we must welcome this development. But in addition, in the next 3 years, we will use 3 trillion from the budget. So this gives you, comrades, 4 trillion rand. So we're going to have to make sure that this 4 trillion rand does fund the 7 pillars of the ANC manifesto that we have adopted last year. Otherwise, if we are not on guard, a lot of this money will go to the tenderpreneurs. So, COSATU, on page 16, there are issues there that we raised, Comrade President, about what COSATU has said when we were endorsing the ANC manifesto. That's an important matter, Comrade, and we wish we didn't have this paralysis in COSATU. There's a fundamental thing that has got to be pursued by organized workers' right agents, and it's the issue of the national minimum wage. We nearly lost this in the debates around the manifesto, so we fought and pushed it back. So this thing, comrade, is an important thing that has got to be pursued and won by COSATU. If we can win this just one thing, to ensure that there's a national minimum legislated minimum wage throughout the economy, it will be an important achievement. There are just too many South African workers who are earning starvation wages. So that will overnight change the situation if we're to fight and legislate for a minimum wage. So this thing has got to be pursued, comrades, and pursued aggressively by COSATU. So, and of course, there are other comrades in other sides of struggle and other sides of power who've got to ensure that we pursue this. There's a whole range of other things that COSATU had identified there. The next thing, comrades, is that we want to call, to support the call for a summit on the transformation of the mining industry. So we want to propose to Special Congress that we must come out of this Special Congress to support this call that this summit be held and be held urgently. We can't go through this. Comrades who have done work here will tell you that the issue in the mining industry is not just about the minimum wage, but it's both the working and the living conditions of mine workers and the migrant labor system. It is that, all of that, that needs thorough transformation. On organizational assessment, Comrade President, our 5 organizational priorities remain. In this year, we had agreed we're running branch congresses, collective bargaining, recruitment, and the elections. The elections are now done, so it means as we move forward in this year, so we're now going to be focusing on recruitment, collective bargaining, and our branch congresses. Now, on branch organization, on page 18, you can see there the stats, comrades, on what we have done. We gave provinces dead timelines to say, by this time, can you finish holding your branch congresses? The first one was April. Later on, we said May. We haven't met May. It means we're going to have to change this timeline once again. So there's a proposal later that we must move to the end of July, these provinces that are having congresses now, and then the others that are remaining start in August. There have been provinces that have been arguing. Comrades, should we really apply this clustered, no guidelines have got to be applied, clustered approach in an inflexible manner? We may have to think about that, because if we were to wait for the end of July and not only then ask the rest of the provinces to only start, even if they are ready, we may run into the dangers of flowing into 2015. So we're going to have to think, so Congress must just give us a framework that helps us. The fundamental thing is all of us must finish branch congresses in this year. Next year, we're running regional congresses. So in response to the Secretary of the Youth Section of the World Federation of Trade Unions, guidelines have been sent out, they must be followed. And in particular, comrades, we must follow the Constitution. And comrades, please, let us not tick the boxes. These branch congresses are very important tools for building strong workplace organization. So we said we're going into these branch congresses to ensure that we can revive organization on the ground and ensure that we can have general meetings, we have working BECs, but that we can set up substructures and that they can be trained. Now, if we don't do that, comrades will not be able to get 50% plus one in every workplace. So we're doing some observations there on page 18 and 19. Comrades can go through that. Recruitment, this is a very big issue, comrades. We looked at, there are things that are happening for membership figures. You can see down we are using membership figures for the end of October last year that we adopted in the Central Executive Committee last year. So we're undertaking a process now that is checking what's exactly happening with our membership system. And we've agreed at the last NEC we'll report to the media review and report to the next NEC in October. And on the basis of this, the union has got to set itself on a new growth trajectory, comrades. One thing that should not be negotiable is that the union must grow, must continue to grow, and must grow faster. That thing, comrades, that thing is very serious for now, it's serious for the future. It's a non-negotiable. The union must continue to grow and must grow rapidly. So we'll be awaiting a report at the media review and at the next NEC. So on recruitment, we had agreed, we have already identified which regions are more strategic, which sectors are more strategic for recruitment, but we have now agreed we need more recruiters full-time, but we must roll out the recruitment campaign to all of our provinces. So this we must now jack up. Collective bargaining, this is just to, it's particularly public service. We're negotiating in all our sectors, but the majority of our members are going into negotiations this year with the state. So this is what we propose. In fact, it's been agreed. So we're going to have our internal processes, and there's a chief here who says that is the CEO of the GMC. Given what has happened during the elections, that it's only practical that we'll finish inside of the union by the end of July and ensure that COSATU can consolidate by the end of July and then start present negotiations in August. Earlier on, we had thought that all of those things can be done by the end of June. So of course, we've been disrupted by the election, so we're going to have to make sure that we can move faster in ensuring that we go back to all our bargaining forums in each branch, in each region, in each province, with our research documents so that we can get mandates and come back. So, but what is our overall approach? Our overall approach as we go into these negotiations is to resolve the big issues. So what are we going to do with a 3-year agreement or multi-term or one-term? And what are we going to do with the outstanding matters? The general sentiment coming from the ground, comrades, is that whilst looking at other conditions of service is important, but it is now critical that we must resolve all of these outstanding matters as part of this year's negotiations. And we have them there. The housing scheme, the pension redress, the minimum service level agreement, improved qualifications, medical aid. Now, many comrades have been complaining about these problems of GEMS and the government not having adjusted its subsidy since 2011. And now they come around and say, no, can we do this? from the 1st of January based on CPI. It's complete madness. So comrades have put forward, as you can see there, a demand that says, no, it must be made based on medical CPI because it's higher. The only alternative to that is simply to go back and to backdate the adjustment. So that thing that you can simply move from the 1st of January now, 2014, or based on CPI, it's something that can be accepted. And it may be that it is one of the things that are going to fall within the things that may lead to a dispute. And if it needs be, it will lead to a fight this year. Financial self-sufficiency, Comrade President, this thing we need to continue to pay special attention to it. By the way, comrades, this thing of financial self-sufficiency, we need to continue paying special attention to it. We need to be self-sufficient. We need, as some comrades say, prepare for rainy days. Some comrades who said so in the past. We need to be self-sufficient. And this question of financial self-sufficiency is very critical now, given the challenges that we face, in the context in which money can play such an important role in unions. It's not us saying this. The COSATU president told you that today, some union can go to another union and say, look, comrade, we will pay for your affiliation fees to COSATU. Now we're going to, and others, they can be paid so that they can be part of certain activities, including the activities of destabilization. Now, comrades, you're going to have to be self-sufficient if this union of Uram Jogole and Begim Keys is to withstand the onslaught that is likely to come our way. You know these things that comrades are doing, of going into other union scopes. We know as a matter of fact that there's a recruitment drive going inside of the union for other unions. And the main thing they're looking at there is what is the Nehawu membership base. And we're quite clear that they are looking at areas of vulnerability in our membership to go there to counter organizers. Now, in a situation like that, comrade, if we are to respond to the offensive and to defend ourselves, we're going to make sure that we remain self-sufficient. Otherwise, we're going to ask other people to pay for affiliation fees for us. On page 23, we deal with the way forward there, Comrade President, and we won't go through it. We hope the comrades have dealt with that. And so we want now to come to the conclusion. On page 24, so comrades, this is where we end with the report, the overview. This was just an overview of the Special National Congress. So from here, we go into 2017. Under the banner, Build Strong Workplace Organization, Class Consciousness, and Internationalism. We commit ourselves from here, Comrade President, that will remain a disciplined affiliate of COSATU. That when COSATU has taken a decision, that decision binds on us. That we will continue to do everything possible to ensure that COSATU remains united. As we closed, Comrade President, there's one thing that one comrade raised here that we do want to raise and have been discussing with other comrades. And comrades, we're not talking about business unionism in general. In 1997-98, when we adopted a resolution on union investments, we were quite clear around the strategic nature of union investments and what they must do. But comrades, it is quite clear now that union investments are wreaking havoc within our unions now. And we want to raise this. That remember who's this Comrade Blade who says you are not angels. You see, we're going to have to deal with this thing inside of the federation, comrades. Seriously. Because it is going to cause massive problems. So we have been saying in the NEC and the CEC that, you see, comrades, it's not because we ourselves are angels. We do know that if we have there comes a time where you have just too much cash available, it can precipitate a major war inside of a trade union. So as we move forward, comrades, in this union of Bekim Kizi and Urem Jogol, that's one of the things that we're going to have to ensure that we pay very serious attention to, that we can't fall into a trap. We now know, as we're sitting here, that in fact, many of the fights happening in some of the COSATU affiliates have nothing to do with comrades' disagreements on the direction of the union. It's simply about access to union investment. Simple, that's only one thing. So, Comrade President, we have every confidence that this leadership that remains behind here will make sure that the union of Urem Jogolo remains united. It remains a militant union, a fighting union, a campaigning union. But that, comrade, as Comrade President normally says, that we are also a sophisticated union. That we're going to do everything to ensure that our COSATU remains united. And that we will keep to our origins and our foundation of our political, will keep to our political and ideological orientation as the union of Bekim Kize and Urem Jogol. So this Bekim Kize was our first president, died in the Masabati, worked in the hostels here in the underground for the African National Congress, and they ended up being an MP of the ANC. So that's who we are. So the usual Urem Jogolo, our first president, our first general secretary, would have worked with some of the comrades here in the SACTU underground. So that's who we are. And into the future, let us keep to the tradition of who we are, the tradition of Urem Jogolo and Bekim Kize. Comrade President, we want to say now, thank you very much. In the last Congress here, we read this quote by Comrade Tambo. We like it very much. And he said in 1990, and I quote, "I have devotedly watched over the organization all these years. I now hand it over to you, bigger, stronger, intact. Guard our precious movement." Those quotes. Now, as these leaders here depart, comrades, as these ones here depart, we have every confidence that we will guard this movement of Urem Jogolo and Bekim Kize. Thank you very much.
All right, comrade, thank you very much. We have Blake Bailey, 210, a phone that was lost at the ladies' bathroom from Limpopo. Please, comrade, if you've come across that phone, we are told that the color of the phone is white. We are also told that when the phone is being phoned, it appears that somebody is busy with it. Will you please bring that phone here on the table? Please. We have another phone that was picked up in the ladies' bathroom. It's red in color. Please bring your ID and the proof that this one belongs to you here in front. Thank you very much. Appears that some comrades have released themselves. Why we not have released them? We'll tell you, comrade, when you are released, but not now. Comrades, the next item. Okay, the next item, we're now discussing the Secretariat overview. We want to see hands. Comrade, in order to save time, let's include clarity, comment, and the discussion, so that when the General Secretary summarizes, we speak to that summary and we move the Secretariat. Can we invite the Congress to debate the Secretariat? Special Congress. Is that Eastern Cape? I can't see that board. Eastern Cape. Western Cape. Hey, comrade, you know this thing is a problem. Okay, so that Oya, Western Cape. Okay, you have a Western Cape. Can we have another board? We have you, Gauteng. Northwest Province. All right. Western Cape, can you take the mic?
Thank you, President. Comrade President.
Okay, Western Cape. Comrade, there's a commotion on that side, not far from the guest, and there are many comrades who moves up and down. We are now in the important session of the Congress. Western Cape?
Thank you, Comrade President. President, we want to appeal to Congress that we focus on the way forward and conclusion as we debate the overview, Secretariat overview, instead of going page by page and trying to debate the entire report. We believe this Congress is a special Congress. We were in a national Congress last year where we took comprehensive resolutions on all the areas of work of our union. So this Congress is not reviewing any of those decisions. We are merely affirming them. So we think the way forward and conclusions are taking us forward, Comrade President, and also capturing the key political and socio-economic issues of the moment. On that note, Comrade President, as the Western Cape, we move for the adoption of all the recommendations, a way forward and conclusion. Thank you very much, President.
Yes, Lendo was Kaulas Wahut. Okay, Gauteng. I'm sure you have listened to the Western Cape. You are not at Limpopo.
No, President, thanks. We've had Western Cape, and we want to agree. But then there are one or two issues we want to speak to. Firstly, President, we want to start by wishing farewell to our leaders deployed in different legislatures, the National Assembly and provincial legislatures. President, one thing under COSATU, we're taking it from the perspective of the task team, ANC task team, and also guided by one of our region, that as we posture ourselves towards resolving the challenges in COSATU, we must therefore not compromise unity of the federation going forward. But then, whilst we're dealing with the issues of unity, we must also not compromise discipline on the basis of unity. So further to that, President, we think when we are to deal with issues of COSATU, particularly addressing discipline issues, the union and the federation must be decisive on some of the issues which are anti-COSATU from some of the affiliates. Because we think we cannot speak about unity when there is discipline and when there is a divergence from what COSATU seeks to achieve. We think that's something that we think we need to add. In terms of international, President, we, under the struggles of the Palestinian people, we want to note the World Medical Conference, which will be hosted by South Africa. If we remember well, apartheid South Africa was expelled from this conference sometimes in 1986. Therefore, Israel, apartheid Israel is not different to South Africa. Whilst we pledge the campaign for the people of Palestine, we must also, as the government of the Republic of South Africa, to push for a resolution to expel Israel from the World Health Organization. So that's what we want to propose. President, in relation to organizational work, we're noting issues which were not outstanding issues in the public service, particularly the pension redress. We're noting that there were a number of cut-off dates or extensions, but then we are of the firm belief that those who have been captured and who are no longer in the public service, the government must begin to calculate what is due to them and be able to pay them without even going back to other outstanding applications that might be submitted to the task team of pension redress. Thank you very much, President. We second Western Cape.
Okay, thank you very much. Northwest. Northwest. Northwest.
Enkosi Mongameli. No, first, President, as Northwest, we want to, in addition to what Gauteng has said, appreciate the good leadership provided by the outgoing leaders for all these years. And we have trust and confidence that they will represent us well and make us proud where they are going. President, but also want to appreciate the messages we have received from the Alliance today. Very encouraging. We hope that we'll achieve unity in COSATU post the challenges that we are facing in COSATU. But however, President, as we second the other provinces on the conclusions and way forward, we just want to speak briefly on two issues. That the current, or rather the elections campaign this year was not an easy one. In fact, the members of the PEC Northwest were saying that we were just lucky that it was the national and provincial elections instead of the local government elections. Otherwise, the situation and the outcome would be very bad, Comrade President. So we think that with the service delivery protests that we have had, in particular in our province and other provinces, that we should now begin to work for 2016 local government elections. Otherwise, comrades, our celebration for the African National Congress victory may be short-lived if we don't start now. We agree with comrades on the issues of COSATU, Comrade President, that let's pray, work hard, and do everything in our power for unity. But, Comrade President, when this union becomes its unity is threatened, the union must defend itself. We agree with Gauteng that when there are elements of ill discipline, including internal in the union, that the union of Peking and Urim Johol must defend itself. And so that there's no confusion that you have people who sympathize with the other forces who seeks to actually destroy COSATU and target Nehawu, and we keep quiet. As the union must be very clear, Comrade President, that the unity of the union Nehawu in terms of our own preamble should not be compromised by in any way. So in that way, Comrade President, we agree that we are moving, we are seconding rather the conclusions and way forward. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
President, Siyakashela Mongameli. We agree, Mongameli, with the rest of provinces, as in particular the Western Cape, in terms of going straight to the way forward. But we just want to speak on point number 5 of the Secretariat report, page 23, which deals with the branch congresses. President, taking from our experiences, Eastern Cape, it has not been possible for us to meet the deadlines.
You are in page 23, ne?
On page 23, yes. All provinces that are busy with branch congresses, number 5.
All right.
Yes. We are saying it has not been possible for us as Eastern Cape to meet all the deadlines, including the end May. And if we are saying now, let's extend it to 31st July, and then other provinces will start later on in August, and their deadline is November. We are of the view as the Eastern Cape, they will not meet the deadlines. So our proposal to the Congress is that as much as those that have already started, their deadline will be the 31st. But let's also allow other provinces who have not yet started to start now, so that we are able to meet the deadline, which is 2014, so that by 2015 we go to regional congresses. That will be our proposal to the special congress. The second point that we want to raise to the Congress, we are not sure as Eastern Cape President when we are recommending to this special Congress to say the proportional allocation on page 24 must be deferred to the 2017 Congress. This is a Congress decision, and our view, what is left is the implementation of that resolution. So if we are unable to implement it, let's get the report to the coming CEC as to where are the difficulties. That will be our proposal, President. Lastly, it's not here in the report, but we want the Congress to speak on it. There are rumors that are flying around. We have not yet seen them and confirmed them as Eastern Cape around the pension. That when now you are going to retire from public service, you are no longer going to get a lump sum. We want clarity as Eastern Cape. Is this being discussed possible at a PSCBC level? And if it is being discussed, what is our position as a union? Because we would like to forward the proposal as Eastern Cape. Thanks, President.
And what's the mandate of our members? Because, comrade, this is a matter that have been a groove in 1990 struggle, where we says we must have a similar pension and we must have lump sum.
That's it.
Most of the time, we just take things for granted. It is one of the biggest problems. But thank you for raising that, comrade, from Eastern Cape, because I think it's a matter that needs an attention. Now we're going to the biggest province in the country, Northern Cape. Northern Cape, Tetan, Galog Matot.
No, thanks, Comrade President. We also stand up to welcome the report. We're having a difficulty after Gauteng said they have seconded the Western Cape, and the President didn't ask if there's any counter for that seconder. But thanks, President, for allowing us. We'll be very short on page 24.9. We think, President, we have to internalize the public service negotiations and understand them the way they are. They are causing much divisions within the affiliates of COSATU and also within our members. We also think that we should recognize that there's a roadmap developed by COSATU JMC, and then as such, the way proposal stands reviews the COSATU JMC roadmap by adding that we should meet the employer in August. As such, President, we propose that we propose that the first JMC of COSATU at the national level should meet at least during June, so that we understand where the researchers from different affiliates of COSATU are standing on the demands, so that the time when you consolidate and prepare for submissions, at least at the provincial level, we also have met, and then we are able to move in unison with the membership across all public sector unions in COSATU. Comrade President, on the issue that was raised by the Eastern Cape, we think that point is important, President, because it's causing a lot of confusion on the ground. The only challenge that we have is that we can't correctly locate it within the report, except to say the negotiators in the PSCBC, at least within 7 days from this special national congress, they should respond to that issue of the lump sum on the pension. Because we did also, President, wanted to raise it, but we didn't have where we can locate it for a proper resolution of the special national congress. But our proposal will be that within the 7 days, the negotiators, through the national office bearers, they should communicate through a bulletin on what is happening on the pension lump sum, Comrade President. By saying that, Comrade President, we agree with all the provinces that made inputs before us, in particular the our friends, the Western Cape. Thank you very much, Comrade President.
Where are those flags going to? We're not done as a special Congress. Yeah, a flag. Limpopo.
Thanks, Comrade President. We covered by many provinces that have spoken on a number of issues we wanted to raise. We hope that the inputs that were added by the GS as it was making presentations, particularly the matter that relates to our demand in terms of joining the SACP campaign on the racist behavior of the certain MP, will be added in the way forward and conclusions. The next thing we want to speak to, comrades, want to agree with Eastern Cape on the branch congresses. Our view is that the remaining branches that are left in the province that are mentioned here are not as big that we can extend the deadline up to July and not allow the other provinces to start, so that indeed by the end of the year, we can see that all our provinces have run their branch congresses. So in that context, Comrade President, want to agree with the Eastern Cape, but also add that the training and education program for newly elected shop stewards must also be start in earnest, because it's one of the programs that can lag behind and thereby bring us back in terms of what we wanted to achieve. On the public service negotiations, President, agreeing with Northern Cape that we don't see in the recommendation the role that JMC must play, except that we say that we must consolidate and submit to the employer by August. But it's like we have now removed the roadmap that was developed earlier, and we're not pulling enough the coordination by JMC on this program. Because it is our view that the roadmap, many of the deadlines set out by the roadmap, we've already missed them. So we think that the JMC, so agreeing with Northern Cape that probably the JMC must meet in June to review the roadmap and make sure that it fast track and coordinate all the affiliates to make sure that we submit. The last thing, President, we want to speak to, raised by Eastern Cape, the issue of the proportional allocation that the recommendation says deferred to the 2017 National Congress. We think as Limpopo, and we have raised this thing before, in the context of the difficulties that has arisen in the Union over the past 4 years to implement this resolution that comes from 2010 National Congress, that perhaps we need a discussion inside the Union, not in this Congress, and we're not sure if the Central Executive Committee is a correct platform, while agreeing with Eastern Cape in terms of the full report as to what are the difficulties that we can't implement that resolution. But maybe to answer a question as a Union, what is it that we seek to achieve that we are not currently achieving by a proportional allocation? That which as a Union today we are unable to do because we are not implementing a proportional allocation that we can only achieve once we implement this resolution. Maybe we need a discussion to answer that question. If the Central Executive Committee is a correct platform, we can take that discussion there. But we thought that if it is not, therefore the Congress was the correct platform, President. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Are you done, Mbambo? Sabon. Pumalang, you covered. Comrades, can I ask the Secretariat to summarize? After that summary, you will only speak if there's a matter is left out, and the Secretariat would have been adopted. Secretariat? You are coming. Summary. Okay. Yeah, okay. Thanks, President.
Comrade President, the DGS is going to add, because we didn't hear some of the things that the provinces that spoke last were saying, because of the crisis caused by this information around some changes in relation to the pension. It's a crisis indeed. So, and we're not saying that it can't be done, but it can't be done in this way that so we just hear rumors. It's a fundamental thing. There's got to be very substantive negotiations and consultations on a matter like this. It can't just be done like this. So we want to propose on that thing, Comrade President. And we have it on good authority that COSATU's position is to reject this amendment. That we must come out of this Congress as Nehawu and reject this amendment that's been proposed. We have started by saying we accept the report, we move all the proposals, recommendations, and the way forward as proposed in the report. There was an addition there that we indeed must emphasize the issue of the unity of COSATU, but we must also emphasize, in addition to unity, discipline inside of COSATU and inside of our own union. So, and discipline in our union means, comrade, as the veteran of the trade union movement said here earlier on, you can have big debates, but when a decision has been made by the majority, it binds you. It doesn't matter how strong your views have been. Now, in the union, when a decision has been made by the majority or by the appropriate structure, that decision binds on every member of the union. It can't be allowed that you break ranks. So that's the discipline inside of the union, but the same discipline should apply to COSATU. We're working for unity, but when a decision has been made by COSATU, the COSATU decisions must apply to all of its affiliates. The deadline on branch congresses, we agree, but we don't want to encourage the Eastern Cape and others to now drag their feet. But we quite understand that we don't want to impose something that, as Congress, that can be difficult to now. That is almost impractical. We agree with this approach that says, firstly, those congresses, but comrades, it doesn't mean now we're going into a process that's not well managed. That we're going to have because we've been struggling, even when this has been coordinated from head office. So when a province is ready to start, it means there's got to be proper communication with head office, there's got to be preparations with head office. Head office must know, they must work with head office to ensure that implementation of the branch congresses. So we're not saying that we're allowing any province to do their own thing all over the place. But we agree that those provinces that are ready to start, they should not wait for August. They should be able to start with the branch congresses now. But that is only after communication with head office, a plan has been discussed and has been agreed with head office, and then we can implement together. So that we agree. So with regard to Eastern Cape, we agree that we are flexible. The only deadline now we're putting for everybody is the end of 2014. But of course, those provinces that started earlier, it would be expected that you must finish earlier so that you give head office space to give support to other provinces that are starting late. The proportional allocation, we didn't hear, except Eastern Cape, what other provinces were saying on this matter. So I'm sure community just heard better than me on this matter. We've been battles on this matter for a very long time. I'm sure he'll summarize. But just to say, comrades, you remember we bring a proposal. It's not because we're saying there's no standing Congress resolution. Always saying that in the circumstances, it's something that we may not be able to do between now and the next Congress. Now, Eastern Cape says, But can we leave, there's a standing decision, let's leave it open. So if we can't do it, report to the next CEC. So in that sense, it means it's a matter that remains open. We'll keep on reporting progress on our ability to implement it in the CECs in the run-up to the 2017. So you're not necessarily closing it down now at this special Congress. This just agrees, because I've not heard what comrades are saying. So this is what we're trying to suggest, comrades, because it's a practical issue. We have no authority now to try and change it. The last Congress did give direction on this matter. We're saying that we had lots of discussion in the finance strategic session in the NEC about the practicality of doing this. So we recognize a decision exists. So the national office bearers will continue giving reports to the CEC on the ability of the union to do this thing, so that the proportional allocation task team also continues to do its work and report on the viability of doing it. So it's not so it does not have two counterposing positions on the matter. So we want to propose that we find a framework that ensures that there's a standing decision, so we'll pursue its implementation and give reports.
Comrades, that was a summary of our discussion. We want to check whether in the summary there's anything that is left out. If everything's okay, it meaning that we're going to the proposal moved by the Western Cape and seconded by Northwest, or seconded by Gauteng. Now, if that's the understanding, comrades, it means that we are done with Secretariat and the discussion of Secretariat. Okay, DGS, the acknowledgement of guest, DGS.
No, President, we stand up to acknowledge the presence of some of our guests who joined us while we were still discussing the report. Amongst our self-committee, we have Comrade Mike Tau, who is the Sakau Second Deputy President. There is. We also are joined by Comrade David Makretu, who is the NUM Treasurer General. We also have Comrade Silwanu Tom, who's from the women's structure of NUM. They were here. Comrade Courage Kosa, Sama, Chairperson. There he is. Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. We are also joined by Comrade Musidi Mabue, who is the SACNU General Secretary. They have left. Let's hope they're still around. Comrade Fuyo Bikicha, WFTU Africa Office. Amongst our self-committee, we also have Comrade Buti Malamela, the Young Communist League National Secretary. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Now, Puti, how is this possible? That you're in my Congress and you don't come and report. Hey, Comrade, can we call the ISA? Huh? Election agents, what's the difference? GS, have you briefed them? Where's the Nehawu General Secretary? Comrades, we did say to you that 210 Black Bailey White lost in the ladies' bathroom. Please, can you bring that phone along and bring it here on the table? The same announcement we did, it comes again. Can you please make sure that phone comes back here? Thank you.
Thank you, comrades. The last time I was here, we were closing nominations. And just to announce back to plenary that we have received nominations from all 9 provinces, and that we currently stand at a scenario where we've received nominations, basically unopposed for all the positions, but we're not going to announce the outcome now, as there is still outstanding business of conference. So the final announcement will be made after business of conference is concluded. And basically the nominations we received are for 5 positions, the first being First Deputy President, followed by Second Deputy President, National Treasurer, General Secretary, and Deputy General Secretary. Those are the 5. Thank you.
All right, comrade, thank you very much from the election agency. Can we go to item, what is this item? Is it item 10, constitutional amendment? Constitutional amendment, we're ready to receive proposals or move by in second. Constitutional amendment. Who's that? Okay, is it Western Cape? Is that Western Cape? Okay, let's come. All right. Free State. Not Orange. Gauteng. All right. Western Cape, can you take the podium?
Thank you, President. President, we don't want to delay this meeting unnecessarily. Comrade President, our understanding is that we are dealing with the constitutional amendments on page 27. All the other amendments that were effected or adopted by the 10th National Congress still stand. The only ones, as we have explained to our caucuses, are on page 27. We hereby, President, move for the adoption of these amendments. We just want to caution Comrade President, that as we were reading the Constitution, we found a few errors which we will bring to the attention of the NOBs for a cleanup. So we adopt with that addition, Comrade President, that the cleanup process must take note of the errors. Thank you, President.
Okay, Free State.
Thank you, Comrade President. We second the move on the basis of the fact that we understand that these amendments are not intending to increase the subscription, and it is still within the powers of the CEC to determine or take decision on the maximum amount. Therefore, we second. Thank you.
Gauteng.
Yeah, thanks, Comrade President. As Gauteng, we're rising to appeal that immediately after the Special National Congress, the process of approval of the Constitution be expedited, given the fact that we're having serious challenges in terms of branch congresses. As comrades would know, we are currently following guidelines in the absence of an approved Constitution. So if we can just expedite that process, thanks.
Otherwise, you third it. We know how complex is Gauteng. Comrades, that item is concluded. It is moved by the Western Cape. It is seconded by Free State. Is there any contrary view? Thank you. This point, we're done. All right. That including you. Now, comrades, we are now at almost the conclusion of the Congress, of the Special Congress. We want to call the comrades that we all know that they are outgoing, or the comrades who are been given a new responsibility. Somebody the word outgoing not right. Comrades who are given new responsibility, who's going to depart from us and go and take other challenges on our behalf, that we've been asked to do this, that they come one by one and say a few words. And we will determine how they come. So can we start? We're now speaking formal. Yeah. You can't become saying welfare if you are not a former. Can we now call the former National Treasurer of Nehawu to come and say a few words to the delegation of the Special Congress?
Amandla. Why let's have it prepared? Amandla. Aish. Comrade Amandla. Viva Nehawu, viva. Viva Nehawu, Nehawu ya rona, viva. Viva COSATU, COSATU, viva. Viva the SACP, viva. Viva the ANC, viva. I would like to say, viva COSAS, viva. Comrade, thank you. In fact, this came as a shock because we're not being prepared to say something to you. But one needs to say, as a young NOB that is living Nehawu, being in the union for 17 years, being a full-time shop steward for 8 years, I would like to say to you, I humble myself. And I would like to say to you, thank you so much for Nehawu, for the development that you instill in me, maturity that you built in me as a young woman, came into the union being a youth by that time. And comrade, I would like to say today, I've been graduated from the School of Marx and Leninism. And comrade, thank you, Amandla.
All right. All right. We thank you very much, former National Treasurer. Can we call the former First Deputy President to come and say a few words?
Amandla. Amandla. Awethu. Awethu. Matimba. Ahina. Viva Nehawu, viva. Viva Nehawu, viva. Viva the ANC, viva. Viva SACP, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Malibongwe. Thank you very much, Comrade President. It's very sad, Comrade, to say goodbye. It is very sad. But first, comrades, I've been in the union for 25 years. 23 years being a shop steward. It's not easy. First, I want to thank the former national office bearers. Some of them are sitting there. And the current national office bearers and the National Executive Committee. And to thank my branch, University of Johannesburg, for the continuous support started from Wits Technikon into that new University of Johannesburg. The region I led for 6 years, Johannesburg region, and the province of Gauteng, and yourself, delegates of the Congress, I arrived in this union from TNG, which is now SATAU, as the education sector transferred to Nehawu. And were embraced, comrades, by the then Assistant General Secretary of Nehawu, Comrade Slovo, to settle in the union and to be part of this massive organization. we have faced different challenges. As an organization, as shop stewards, but because Nehawu yakwazi ukupheka from a raw diamond to a polished diamond. Today, some of us are now being deployed into the state, thanks to Nehawu and thanks to the Communist Party that polished some of us to be who we are today and being the serious activists inside of the ANC. And I want to thank my family, in particular my mother. I will tell you why I'm saying that, comrades. That my mother, when my dad was assassinated, my mother did not stop us to be activists as a family. And she's still alive at the age of 85. So ngifuna ukunibonga nonke comrades. Nehawu will always be our home. We'll always come back. We'll always engage with the incoming leadership. We'll always advise where we can. As you do with the former national office bearers, we are now joining those ranks of being former national office bearers. But I want to thank you, comrades. We know at some point, comrades, when mandated by the national office bearers and carrying the mandate of the national union, in some instances, we're trampling on some of the comrades, but we're building one another. With that, comrade, we want to thank you. And we say, comrade, like the General Secretary said, comrades, we are giving this union back to you intact. Please keep it intact. Let us make Begum Keys and Urem Jogolo proud. Let us make our movement to remain proud of this giant union. I want to thank you and thank you very much.
Now, comrade, we're calling the former second deputy president. And in KZN, they call her Tozamil. Comrade Mandash, Tozamil.
Ayatuma makosikazi, ayatuma makosikazi. Amandla, Amandla. Long live now, long live. Long live the Revolutionary Alliance, long live. Comrades, as I stand here, I feel like I'm owing Nehawu something that I can't describe. I began my activism in the trade union movement at a tender age. In a branch in Lady Frey in the Eastern Cape. And I was identified by the leadership of that province that I had capacity to can lead a region. By so doing, I'm saying there isn't a single step that I had jumped in this union at the level of leadership. But it had never crossed my mind that Nehawu would shape me politically and otherwise, so that other progressive organizations may identify me as somebody who has capacity to can lead those organizations. I came from a background of or I may say a poor background. I'm a daughter of a peasant. And it is through the struggles that I experienced in that terrain that gave me direction to be who I am today. This is a sad story that I'm going to tell you. But now I'm stronger. I won't cry, Eastern Cape. At the age of 22, I got married. And after 6 months of that marriage, my husband was shot dead by policemen. They burned his body to ashes. And it is after that incident that I saw it fit that I can't sit down. I must fight for emancipation of all the women in the country, from all fronts. And I joined a staff association then called the Transkei Public Servants Association. But after the 1994 breakthrough, I was not canvassed. I took a conscious decision that I can't, after that era, still belong to an association. And I decided to join Nehawu. I told those people I was leading in that staff association. I told them that I can't stay here anymore. Let us go and join Nehawu. And some of them, most of whom are here today, heeded to my call. I have the 279,000 members of Nehawu to thank that I'm who I am today because of the confidence you've shown in me since 2008. And I have the leadership of the Eastern Cape Province to thank more than any other person for them to identify me from a humble beginning. And they had sponsored me to come and lead at national level. I hope I have not disappointed them. There has been challenges, but because we were working at this level as a collective, and I hope those challenges are going to come again to the leadership that is going to take over from this collective. But if they are united, I can assure them that there's no hill that they cannot overcome, because unity is strength. It is very painful at this point to say goodbye to Nehawu. But we know that wherever we go, we have a home. But we need the support of this union in the new tasks that are ahead of us. I've been saying to comrades, it would be helpful to us as the people who are going to a new terrain of government to come and bounce even any bill that is put in front of us to COSATU affiliates before we can go and discuss them in parliament. Not that Comrade Putima-Namela were going to take COSATU into parliament, but that our roots are in COSATU. And we promise not to disappoint you. Amandla.
In Dongo. Can we call the former General Secretary of Nehawu, Comrade Zakaria Figile Major?
Amanda.
Yeah, no, comrades. Thanks to the immediate former national office bearers and to the remaining 2 national office bearers. So they'll be joined by other office bearers soon. I have not much to say, comrades. It will be the whole evening here. Thanks very much for the exploitation.
I came here as a young boy. Where are they? Where are those people? Office bearers, national office bearers are dangerous people. You never know what they discuss in their small meetings. There are only 6. They discuss very dangerous things. So, Bob, in the same way that he said to me, I'm not standing. So one day I'm sitting in my little office in the Val. So he calls me. Look, on the 1st, you must report to head office. So, what? This was in 1993. I was the Western Transvaal Regional Sales. On the 1st, you must report to head office. And he's those who know him, he can be very rude. So he says, why? He says, we want to groom you. I say, this man. Okay. So I come there. So my point is that, comrade. So I've been there at that secretariat, the thing called the secretariat office, since 1993. I got there, and so I was there, sitting there. I didn't know what was I doing. There was no position because there was a general secretary called Philip Dexter and Makhanen Tobijanes, assistant general secretary. I don't know why they brought me there. But I know President says he thinks it was a good thing. So he thinks that thing has got to be done into the future. Yeah, so comrades, we'll see one another now. I just wanted to say my name is Fikile Zakaria Major. So if you are my comrade, you can call me Comrade Slow. Please, man. No GS and my name is Fikile Zakaria Major. If you're still young, you can say Brazex. Western Cape. We'll meet you there in Cape Town. You are a new home, so please take care of us. Northern Cape, when we come do constituency work there and do oversight, we'll meet you in Kakamas and Christian. Kakamas and what? Calvinia. My Calvinia, yes. Kakamas and Calvinia. So, KZN, thank you very much. So, Banana, eThekwini. Eastern Cape, I'm coming back. So first I must find where we left our land there. So I must reclaim it. Secondly, please, man, I must come stay there so that I can learn my language. And you know the effective way of learning a language. So please make sure that Mpumalanga, those ones. Yeah, but no, these ones are my in-laws. So Eastern Cape, that thing must be temporary. Otherwise, I'll get into trouble with my in-laws in Mpumalanga. Hey, Comrade Shida, very serious. Oh no. So the veteran there leading comrades from head office. Yeah, now so you comrades can say, I'm fit. So when we meet, I'm fit, who's it? Now, it will be nice. Yeah, for sure. That good lad in Gauteng. That go Chinese. Then Pop, we come in there. Hopefully, we'll be invited to the cafe. If the national office us, we'll ask the Cuban embassy to enlist us as some interns there in the embassy so that we can attend the cafe as part of the Cuban embassy. The head office, The head office staff. Hey, I have been there with them in this communist head office. We had a nice session. When was this? Can't remember. Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Who else? Former national office bearers, members of leaders of COSATU. No. Who's left? Northwest. No, don't worry. Leave those ones. Yeah, former national office bearers, thanks a lot, comrades, and the leaders of COSATU. President of COSATU. Ibambeni obafana. Ibambeni kwezinsizwa. Ibambeni. No, Northwest comrades, I'm going to spend the next 5 years there. My term in the ANC ends when in 2017, I'm deployed there. And I'm deployed there by the ANC. I'm the convener of the Central Committee deployees of the SACP there. So that's my home. I'll be living there. But I won't do what I was suggesting to do in the Eastern Cape. They know that I'm a very disciplined kid. So, Comrade President, I think it's good to stop here. So, thank you. They are men. Leave them. I'm going to throw them apart one day. No, Comrade President. No, I will. I'm sure. We're not so well paid there in Cape Town, but I'm sure I can afford this, a small part for the comrades who there at head office. Yeah, we will. Okay, the Honorable PC says he'll make some contribution, so we can have a small party there for comrades at head office. So DJS will give us permission to do that, to come there and have some small party. No, President, you see, we can't ask President for such permission on operational matters. Because, yeah, you see, because when he refuses, we'll have no one to appeal to. So we must ask you so that when we refuse, we can lodge an appeal with him. Fresh start. By so, fresh start. Fresh start. Fresh start. Comrades, you know that I was born in a farm in the Free State. Yes. No, Comrade President, I haven't forgotten. No, I used to walk to school for more than 10 kilometers on barefoot. Yes. My first school was a farm school. You know those schools, we haven't been to a farm school, where it's one school, one room, and all the classes in the one room. So, sub A, then all of them, up to something we call standard 2. That's a farm school. So that's where I attended. Another day, I'll tell you what I've been doing when I was there. At that school and another school and another school, until we were misled by some comrades when we got to the townships. Yeah, they got us into dangerous things there and they caused us problems with school. So, and then look where we are now. Hey, I would have thought I would be running my surgery now. Now, this is what they did to us. But thanks, comrades. We'll not have enough time to do this. I'm told, Comrade President, or later on we're going to do something, hopefully, if we finish early. He just looks at me with a very, please, man, smile. Are we going to do something? Yeah, okay. No, he says that we will do something. So many comrades here have never seen me. Were told today, and they've seen the national treasure. So, but today you'll see all of us. So you'll see us, Reichukocha, tonight. So thank you very much, comrades. It was nice being with you here. We love you.
All right, comrades. You know, around 1993, Comrade Philip calls me and says, Comrade Mike, we want that Secretary of VAT to come to Johannesburg. You must support us. I didn't know what that meant at the time. But at a later stage, I agreed to Comrade Mahane. We were brought to Efes to be groomed. And we must continue to do that. Develop leadership. Comrades, we've been joined by one comrade who's been very long in COSATU, served in one of the COSATU structures in one of the provinces, who have been time to time very helpful in assisting the union to deal with some of the difficulties in some very difficult days in the province of Free State. This comrade is coming from a union called NUM. We are told that he's one of the COSATU comrades who have gone to government. And we are also told that this comrade is a MSc for Public Works. I don't know what else. Rose. Konje ungbani kamala ko kaban. Usem, oh yeah, I remember that name. Usem Machini. Yes. So you can see we're developing leadership and we're deploying comrades into position. The best thing to do, comrades, is not to attack those comrades, but is to give them every support that we can. Now, I want to call somebody quickly for half a second to 50 seconds. Very quick. Comrade Lindelo.
Amandla, Gawethu, viva Nehawu, viva, qina Nehawu, qina Nehawu, qina, socialism, Waichukucha, African National Congress, Waichukucha. Thank you, Comrade President. I am standing here in these 50 seconds that I've been afforded. I'm standing on behalf of the former national office bearers without their mandate. I told them when we broke for lunch that I'm the only one who's seated there, I'm representing them. And to show you the power of the formers, I gave the president a directive and he complied. You know, formers have got a power. That's why people panic when they see former office bearers, because they've got a power of changing things around. And but I am here, comrades, to say, I was saying to Comrade Tozama, this special Congress reminds me, Comrade Philip, Comrade Sotaka, Comrade Basopu, Comrade Jerry, Comrade Mahana, of the 1992 Watershed Congress, which was at Ipelecheng, when we were the second from the bottom, when we were a project of COSATU. And I'm saying this for the second time standing here, that please take Nehawu to the greatest heights. And I'm confident that that is going to happen. But I also want to thank Free State. Eastern Cape will be worried why I started Free State. In 1998, when Nehawu said I must not stand as a national office bearer, Eastern Cape said, so what's the point? You are just a useless person. Vote is 5. I don't know whether you still remember that. But Free State, when it called me, it said, listen, we want you to be a national office, a national treasurer. Forget about Eastern Cape. And I want to thank them for that, because if it wasn't because their insistence, I wouldn't be able to stand in front of you. I wouldn't be able to be as strong as I am. But I want to thank the Eastern Cape, because the Eastern Cape has managed, as what Comrade Tumo said, Comrade Sotaka and Comrade Mike, they will understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to relate that. I want to say to all comrades who are here, yima phaya bus stop, izawufika yakho i-10 yokukhwela apha ebhasini. Ume futhi with patience, because this movement needs patience, needs sacrifice, needs loyalty, but it also needs a little bit of arrogance. On a serious note, it needs you to understand. That's why they're here. That's why now branches of the African National Congress has said they must go to the next stage, because we must understand that there's a thin line between arrogance and assertiveness. Welcome in the corridors of power. It's going to be a very difficult terrain of struggle. Ask Bhuti, we need your support. That support comes with criticism, very painful. We are going to criticize you when you are sitting on your laurels. You are going to criticize us when we say the legislation is saying this, but all that, it's how then that is to be done. And I do think, I'm confident that Nehawu will do it. Kandisuka apa, utu comrade Max Madlingozi, may his soul rest in peace. There are going to be challenges in the industrial unions at some point in this country. Therefore, strong public sector unions are the unions that are going to be needed. And the challenges in Nehawu, as in POPCRU, you are the first union, we are the first union to be an affiliate of COSATU, for your own information. It needs Nehawu, it needs POPCRU, it needs SATU, it needs DINOSA, it needs everybody. And I want to say kumakhosikazi, anyhow, igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Amandla!
All right. We're now asking Comrade Zakaria Fikile Majola to vacate the stage. And we're asking Comrade John Pise to vacate the stage. And we're asking Comrade Soga Beren to vacate the stage. Yeah, this yes. We are asking Comrade Tozama Mandashe to vacate the stage. Comrade, former National Treasurer, can you please vacate the stage? All right, comrades, at this stage, we are calling the election agency to come and announce the result of the election.
Thank you, comrades. Thank you, comrades. Let me acknowledge the President Wagwa Kosatu, Nama Formers. And before I give you the outcome, comrades, to congratulate and wish the outgoing leadership the best in your new deployments, and the incoming incumbents the best in your new tenure. And even before I do that, to thank the outgoing leadership for having enlisted the services of the Elections Agency to come and facilitate this process on your behalf. And we truly appreciate this relationship with the union. Going forward, comrades, the outcome of the nomination is as follows. In this order, starting with the first deputy president, elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Madala Michael Shingange. Can Comrade First Deputy come to? Thank you, comrades. We move on. The second position is that of second deputy president. Also elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Nyameka Matanda. Comrade Nyameka. Thank you, comrades. The third position is that of National Treasurer. Elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Khomotso Makupola. Comrade Khomotso. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, comrades. The next position I can see all lined up is that of General Secretary, and again, elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Bering Soke. Comrade Bering. Thanks, comrades. And the last position before I descend is that of Deputy General Secretary. And lined up and elected unopposed, we've got Comrade Zola Sapete.
Mandla, Mandla, Matla, Aruna, all power, Alota, Viva Nehawu, Viva, Viva Nehawu, Viva. Thank you very much, comrades. Comrades, I want to first take this opportunity and thank the election agency for conducting the business and letting us pass through this item. We want to thank you very much and we want to ask the Congress to applaud them. Comrades, it's been a very long day, but we also want to thank that you have been patient. We hope that in future Congress you can be this patient even if it's a 3-day Congress. At this stage in time, we want to call on the General Secretary of the Union, Comrade Bering Soke, to come and conduct item 12 of the amended program that we have adopted in the morning, that one of the Special National Congress Declaration. Comrade General Secretary. We will be standing, comrades, as we read the General Assembly. Amandla. Amandla. Viva now, viva. Viva COSATU, viva. Viva SCP, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Amandla. Comrade President, we have tried to circulate some copies to the leadership of provinces, and I'm sure comrades by now do have some copies. So comrades will go through us as we read the declaration. We must indicate the President outright that there are minor things there that will be added in the statement, so in the declaration. So comrades must also help us to correct as we proceed. Current President, the declaration of Nehawu Special National Congress held on the 6th June 2014 at Boxberg in Ekurhuleni, Gauteng. We, the 587 delegates representing 279,129 members of our giant public sector union, Nehawu, organizing across the public administration, parastatal, public health, private health, social development, and post-school education sectors, have gathered at this special national congress in line with the determination made by our April 2014 National Executive Committee. Accordingly, the principal and overriding mandate that we have carried to this special national congress from our provinces was to fill in the vacant positions in our National Office Bearers Collective. As a result of the fact that 4 of our leaders are now part of the People's Tribunes, in active duty and at service to the broader masses of our people in national and provincial legislatures on behalf of the African National Congress. Thus,
They are part of a corps of worker leaders from COSATU and other affiliates that have been elected in the 2014 national elections. In this regard, they join legends of others that have been released by our federation since 1994. As a union, we are proud of the fact that these cadres that we rightfully claim as products of our own have earned the confidence of the ANC and indeed of the broader masses of our people. This growing corps of worker cadreship within the ANC underscores the progress of our Sailing the Ranks project as outlined in the medium-term strategy of our federation, the 2015 plan. Our union and COSATU must begin to grapple with the implications of the momentous transitional conference of the ANC in 2017, and therefore how we should take up our Sailing the Ranks project with this perspective, within this perspective, or with this in perspective, my President. The Special National Congress received valuable addresses from our reliable alliances formations. Thus, the union has taken note of the points made by the Deputy President of the ANC, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, the General Secretary of the SSCP, Comrade Glenn Nzimande, and the President of COSATU, Comrade Tumodlame. As now we are proud of the sterling role that we have played in the 2014 elections campaign. We believe that the overwhelming victory of the ANC has struck a devastating blow against the detractors and enemies of our revolution, be they on the right in the anti-majoritarian offensive or those who claim to be the genuine custodians of our revolution. In this vein, we join the SSCP in calling for the resignation from our democratic parliament of the DA's racist bigot, Mike Waters. However, we are conscious of the fact that an electoral contest is but one side of struggle for political power in which the working class can only successfully exert its influence and build its hegemony if it is able to successfully combine the struggle within and through the state with stronger organizational power in communities, at the workplace, and in other key sites of power. Our 10th National Congress has already given us a strategic line of march through the resolutions that it passed, and our battle cry, build strong workplace organization, class consciousness, and internationalism. The 2013 Central Executive Committee has translated these injunctions into a concrete program of action up to the 11th Congress in 2017, which will be the end of the tenure of our reinforced national leadership collective. Whilst enormous strides have been made since our 10th Congress, the Special National Congress calls on the National Union to accelerate the implementation of the 2014 program of action, especially with regard to the branch congresses, as this is the foundational phase of the renewal of our union in the midst of a rapidly changing terrain of trade union work. We shall continue with the training of the newly elected shop steward to cover all our provinces, which must be combined with ideological and political training to build class consciousness and proletarian internationalism. Similarly, the Special National Congress directs that the review of our paralegal strategy must be expedited. Members are the lifeblood of the union, and as such, we undertake to continue with building our organizational machinery in order to provide better service to our members. As part of our 2014 program of action, we undertake to convene the second set of our bargaining forums to finalize demands in the public service negotiations by the end of July and to table to the employer in August 2014. This we shall do working with the COSATU JMC. The Special National Congress take the challenge of stabilizing our finances very seriously. As such, we shall pay special attention on ensuring that the bulk of our resources are devoted to organizing and servicing our members. The sustainable management and fruitful deployment of our resources must particularly be directed at escalating our recruitment campaign, which we pledge to intensify, especially amongst the nurses for whom Nehawu must become their only home. At the same time, we commit ourselves to fight business unionism within our union and in COSATU in general. The Special National Congress expresses concern about the ongoing internal challenges facing COSATU, including in several of its affiliates. Whilst we welcome the intervention of the ANC, we know that ultimately the restoration of unity and cohesion squarely falls upon the shoulders of COSATU and all its affiliates. As such, we shall steadfastly continue to proclaim and practice our commitment to the principle that the unity and cohesion of the Federation is sacrosanct. Nonetheless, we are under no illusions as to the difficulties facing COSATU. Hence, we maintain that all options remain on the table, in line with the mandates of the 10th Congress and our 2013 Central Executive Committee. As part of preparations for COSATU's 12th Congress in 2015, we believe that there is a need for the Federation to undertake a comprehensive study focused on developing a deeper understanding of the present realities facing workers and the changes that are taking place in the labor force 20 years after the demise of apartheid. From this and the ongoing practical engagement with our members must emerge a concrete medium-term strategy that must help COSATU and all its affiliates to dynamically adapt to the ongoing changes that are taking place in our economy and the workforce. As a union, we are convinced that our country stands on a threshold of a radical phase in its democratic transition. Yet we are under no illusions, as we know that fundamental transformation in our society requires maximum unity of the ANC-led alliance, ongoing mass mobilization of the working class, and resolute leadership inside and outside of government. We are concerned about the state of the economy, which continues to leave millions of our people unemployed and in grinding poverty. We support the call by the SSCP for a mining endowment, which amongst others must focus on the working and living conditions of workers and the key recommendations of the ANC's SIMS report. More importantly, we call on the state to take decisive measures against those who continue to kill workers in communities around the Platinum Belt. We call on the fifth democratic government of the ANC to faithfully and resolutely implement all the 7 pillars of the manifesto over the next 5 years, which has been endorsed by the overwhelming majority of our people. On our part as a union, we have a duty to pursue our strategic vocation of building a powerful, independent, class-oriented, and militant public sector union, which has a central role to play in the process of building a developmental state as part of the drive to forge a radical phase of the democratic transition. The Special National Congress casts a brief focus on development globally as well as on our continent. Accordingly, we express concern about the ongoing aggression of Western imperialism against Russia on the Ukraine crisis and China on the dispute in the South China Sea. In the international trade union movement, we undertake to conduct a deeper analysis of the outcomes of the recently held Third Congress of ITUC, with a view to develop an informed perspective on our current affiliation, both through COSATU and the Public Service International. We remain committed to our long-term goal of building a strong presence of WFTU on our continent, and this must be enhanced by the affiliation of COSATU without further delay, in line with the mandate of the 11th Congress. Similarly, we are concerned about the destabilization of Africa by the increasing presence of Western military forces, in particular in West Africa, where there is also a rise of terrorist banditry. In this regard, we pledge our solidarity with the people of Nigeria and join them in their call for the immediate release of their girls unharmed. We emerge from this special National Congress united and determined to go back to the implementation of our program of action, in particular its organizational pillar. Our message to the ANC-led alliance, to the mass democratic movement, as well as our allies, both at home and abroad, is that we have no option but to close ranks. As we pursue our lofty strategic objectives of the second phase of our transition, we say as never before, we need to move arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder with all our allies, friends, and supporters. Thus, we rise from this special National Congress proud of our past and confident of our future. Convinced that the current generation of the entire leadership of our union shall remain united and has the capacity and the resolution to defend and guard the movement of Bekim Kize and Yurem Jogo. Amandla, Matla, all power, Aluta, socialism is the future. Thanks, President.
Thank you, GS. Comrades, can we be settled for a while? We're now going to take comments from provinces who want to express a comment or correction or addition in as well as moving so that we adopt the declaration of the Congress. Limpopo, Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape. Let's start Limpopo. Limpopo. I'll come back and speak. Hmm? Yeah. Welcome. Sure. Proceed.
Thanks, Comrade President. As Limpopo, we are rising to move for the adoption of the declaration as presented. Thanks.
Limpopo. Gauteng?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade President. I must say it's a bad start that you start by identifying the province you're coming from. However,
No, they were the first to raise their board.
We're rising to second as Gauteng.
Thank you, Gauteng. KZN? Covered. Western Cape? Covered. Thank you very much. Can we clap hands? The declaration is being adopted. Thanks, Comrade. Comrade President, it has been a very long day for you with no assistant. We are very glad to assist you to conclude this program after the very hard work of the day. Now, Comrade, it's a time for us to call the President of the National Union to come and give the closing remarks of this Congress.
Amandla! 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 Viva Nehawu, viva! Viva Nehawu, viva! Amandla! Amandla ngawethu yebasebenzi. amandla ngawethu yebasebenzi sekudala esisebenzela amabhulu yebasebenzi ilizwe lethu yebasebenzi amandla ngawethu yebasebenzi sekudala esisebenzela amabhulu yebasebenzi ilizwe lethu yebasebenzi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade First Deputy President. Indeed, it was a long day without a help. A help is welcome at last. We tried to protest that there must be measures that must be done in order to make sure that the president cleanses Mbele. But it was refused. When we realized that we were going to have a special Congress, when some of our detractors inside the movement, inside COSATU and outside, realized that Nehawu was going to have a national Congress, we were told that we're no longer going to focus on Fikile Major, but we are going to focus into that Congress. And we said to those comrades, you are welcome to focus into that Congress. But you must know one thing, and one thing only, that Congress belongs to Nehawu, to nobody else. And we said to those comrades, you can do, you can try, you can do everything that you like, you can change your cars, you can be in dark corners, but you are not going to divide the organization of Urim Jogolo and Begin Kezi. It can only be done in this union that we can change the leadership in the scale that we did without problems, united, smoothly, no contestation. It is because, comrade, we have took conscious decision that for us to succeed, the first and foremost is the unit. For us to succeed, the first and foremost is our members. This is an evidence that we have a strong organization, we have become assured, we now understand the role of the leadership. We must not stop, comrade, to continue to put our position, our views, to debate, to engage, in order to make sure that at the end of the day, those that we represent, they benefit. We just rejected a proposal that seems to want to amend the pension. We told you at some stage that the same people who want to do the same amendment have wanted to suggest that the civil servants must not retire at the age of 60, but they must retire at the age of 70. This is done in order to utilize our pension. This is done in order to make sure that the pension of the workers is used for something else, but to not the benefit of the working class. We must ask question, comrade. Which centers, which shopping centers, and which areas that have been developed about our pension? And this must be the challenge to those who represent us into those structures, that they must not take the mandate of our members granted. That this matter, it cannot just be done willy-nilly without a mandate. Hence, when we convene the bargaining forums of our different provinces, we must put this particular issue on the table. To the top squad of our organization, to the leaders of Nehawu, the special congress has come and gone. We have elected leadership. That leadership needs the support of all of us. And, comrade, to those provinces that have managed to sponsor the National Union leadership, these are not your NOPs, are the NOPs of the National Union. So don't make demands. Don't make demands. They're no longer your NOBs, they're NOBs of the National Union. These are now national leaders, and they must be treated so as national leaders. Because, comrade, when we elect comrade, because we want to have an influence into that collective, we're going to compromise the integrity of that collective. It is going to be important that we understand that, and it's going to be important that we support and make sure that that collective is united. We have a challenge to lead trade union in this period. This period is challenged by many, many issues. By the new generation of technology, convening meeting to email, convening meeting on WhatsApp, convening meeting in Facebook. Those things are foreign to the trade union. They're not going to work. We must go to a workplace. We must talk to members. Siphefumlelane nabasebenzi ngoba xa uthetha nomsebenzi ngobuso ngobuso uqonda ngqo and we understand kakuhle into ethu umsebenzi. Maqabani kukho abasebenzi abasalala ngamanzi kodwa bayahola. That is our responsibility. Our responsibility is to build and make sure that we create confidence into Nehawu members. Remember, 50+1. Remember, for us to have a say, for us to control the negotiation, for us to be relevant into the Labour Relations Act, we must have 50+1. And all Nehawu members understand that means 660,000 members. You do not need to go to learn about market to do that. The simple thing that you must do, you must defend workers and especially when they're wrong. You must win cases. Because when you do, workers says into the shipping, workers says into the taxi, workers says into the buses, Tina Sinenyunyor. They will talk about you. Let us stop delaying launching branches of our branches simply because we have differences with some of the workers or some of the worker leaders in that particular workplace. This thing of delaying the organization because you do not want a particular comrade to emerge is wrong. It must stop. We can't afford that each and every night comrades are calling us, they are crying, and they're asking why their branches are not being launched. This must come an end. It is not about you, it's about the organization. We must take decisive steps. And I'm very glad that the former General Secretary now raises this matter. Why are we continuing giving our money to people that oppose to our ideological ideas? So, Comrade Taledi, Simon Mfukeng from SIPAO, the affiliate of WFTU in South Africa, we must meet and meet and meet very urgently. We must discuss that office and we must make sure that we support that office with our all power we have. We must discuss, comrade, very soon, because at some stage we did indicate into Athens that we would want to host the International Congress of WFTU. We must meet and discuss whether that's still possible. And if it is not, we must indicate in Athens that can we look into another country. At the time that we made this, we were still very close and together with the comrade from NUMSA, and they were acting very seriously. We no longer know, given the challenges of the Federation, whether this is still possible. We must discuss this thing urgently as possible so that we must make the indication. But that does not mean that we should not support that office of the WFTU and make sure that office is able to do its job and be really a office of WFTU in Africa. We not necessarily stopping the resolution of the Congress. This is a special Congress. But where we need to iron out and where we want to deal with some of the issues, in December in the Central Committee, all of those things will be looked into and we'll continue to assess the work that we've done so far. But we must speed up the process of launching branches, of putting together the structures of the union, and make sure that we're strong BECs and train those where we can. The legal strategy of paralegal, the representation of our members, and especially the referral of our cases in time in the event of review of award of arbitrations is lacking. To train and identify job squads who have an interest on a very, very boring process of legals must be sped up. We can't afford, comrades, that we must behave as we used to do in 1994, before 1994. Before 1994, we used to say, when the employer refuses to reinstate member, we will go to a ticket box and say, we are funding the MK in Lusaka and this place is going to be bombed. That thing is no longer relevant. We must become sophisticated trade union. We must be militant. We must be equally professional in our approach. So, you must talk about jurisprudence of laws. So, you must talk about Section 158 of the RLA. You must be 10 times clever than the management. Equally, we got to be conscious of the color, conscious of those who join the new process of accumulation. And we got to be conscious about the dark capitalists and know that they're ruthless because they knew and they need more. Thank you. So, Comrade Sheila, Sydney, I forget to say you must write my closing remarks. I even forget to say you must write my speech for open. Because we can speak from the deep heart of our own experience and our understanding. With those, comrades, we want to say to you, thank you very much. And please, don't stop, support us. And to comrade who joins the ranks of the national leadership. Nabonani ke maqabane eyona click ke kufuneka isucceed yile. Into exoxwe apha indaba yasethangweni ayiyi kwenye indawo iphele lapha. You are now national leaders, and national leaders, they do one thing, that they make sure that the issues of national leaders remain with national leaders. We extend that to the members of the NSC. We extend that to the members of the Central Committee, especially the members of the Central Committee, because they're forming basic unit of our structure called regions. Yes, I was instructed, and I hope I'm going to talk to my provincial secretary of the Western Cape. I was instructed to come to the hospital called Somerset Hospital because I'm told that there's going to be a congress, so I must go back so that my mandate can be renewed. We must all do that, comrade, so that we remain conscious to our core. We want to thank Nehawu staff members in head office. Every time, comrade, when we call Congress, you make us proud. You make a venue where we are so beautiful. But you know, we need more. We need more of the green flags of WFTU. We are an international, you know. But thank you very much. We think that the effort that you are giving to us is appreciated. Well done. And keep on doing the good job. You are not the employees of the Labour Relations Act. You are activists in the trade union. And you must behave like that. We don't have overtime for you, but we need 125 commitment from you. To our organizers, comrades, in the Central Committee, we intend to propose that some of the things that we must do, we must develop performance areas, and some of those performance areas must be how do you prepare the cases of our members when they are going to go to a disciplinary hearing. But for those committed organizers, for those organizers, to those organizers who are doing everything in their best to make sure that our members are represented, we appreciate that. To those organizers who still need to roll up their socks and make sure that they do what they expected, what they're employing for, we want more. And we want improvement to our members that must be represented properly. For you, the best way and the best way of doing this is to make sure that your shop squad are capacitated. With those comrades, we want to release you to say the special congress of Nehawu in Beshut, in Boksburg, has come an end. And we want to ask media, particularly print media, to report properly and say what has prevailed in this Congress, not say something else that did not happen. Thank you very much. And with all of those, this Congress is declared closed. Imanike kancane.
No, President, we are not reversing the last part of closing the Congress. Just two announcements. The first one is that we We want to remind all of you comrades, delegates, and in particular Gauteng, that there's a COSATU march coming tomorrow to the Nigerian embassy in support of the many calls for the release of the abducted Nigerian girls. So comrades know there are normal pickup points when there are activities of COSATU in the province. So provincial leadership will help the comrades with the pickup points. I thought I would read them, but there are many because they cover the whole province and so on. So leadership will access those pickup points. The last one comment is that we are saving a nice dinner, a very good dinner, very delicious dinner at the tent there. So, but when you leave here, yeah, when you move out this way, you go left. When you turn around left, and then you must then turn right again. There's a big white tent there. So that's our venue for the dinner. But before you go there, comrades, please go to your rooms and drop your bags and anything that you think will disturb you to do other things. Okay? So be ready to come back possibly around 11, 12 midnight. That's the announcement, President. Thank you very much. Amandla.